Once upon a time, Earth had a twin. I'm talking about an exact copy in every way. Same climate, same ocean tides, same atmosphere. But that was billions of years ago. Now our Earth is a husk of its former self, scorched and lifeless. Across the galaxy, there is a dying star whose end will cause the destruction of thousands of Earths. This is the story of PSR B1257+12b, the planet that died twice. Our story begins not with a bang but with a whimper. On September 23, 1992, astronomers discovered what would become one of the most famous pulsars in history. A pulsar is basically a highly magnetized dead star that beams out radiation like a lighthouse. The difference between them and a lighthouse is that this light is deadly. If you were to stand near it, you'd be roasted alive. The pulsar in question is called PSR B1257+12. It's located in the constellation of Virgo and is about 2,400 light-years away from us. For a long time, scientists thought it was just another neutron star, the dense core left behind when a massive star goes supernova. But everything changed when they discovered its planets. See, usually we detect exoplanets by watching them pass in front of their stars. That's called the transit method. But sometimes we can see the star wobble because of the gravitational pull of its planets. This is called the radial velocity method or the Doppler spectroscopy method. In this method, if the star moves toward us, the light waves get compressed and shifted to the blue end of the spectrum. And if the star moves away from us, the light waves get stretched and shifted to the red end of the spectrum. In 1994, astronomers used this method to discover the first planet of PSR B1257+12, which was named B1257+12a. Then in 1996, they found two more planets, B1257+12b and c. What made these planets so special? They are among the first discovered in the habitable zone of a neutron star. The habitable zone is the region around a star where conditions are just right for life as we know it. Of course, just because something is in the habitable zone doesn't mean it's actually habitable. There are other factors at play too, such as the presence of a magnetic field and an atmosphere. But still, it's an important distinction. At first, scientists thought that B1257+12b was an ordinary planet like the Earth, maybe a little bigger and heavier. They estimated its mass to be about 2.8 times that of Earth. But over time, they realized that it was much smaller, more like the size of Jupiter's moon Europa. Today, scientists think that B1257+12b is a brown dwarf, basically a failed star that didn't have enough mass to sustain nuclear fusion in its core. Instead of being a star, it became a planet. Its radius is estimated to be only 1.3 times that of Earth, but its mass is almost 15 times that of Earth, so it's incredibly dense. Scientists think that B1257+12b has more than 5 times the mass of water, meaning that it could sink in a pool. It's so dense that its gravity is about 10 times stronger than Earth's. Under such strong gravity, anything would be utterly crushed into a pancake shape. 1 year on B1257+12b is 11 days long. Scientists estimate that 1 day on the planet is 26 hours long. It orbits its star once every 11 days, which means that one side of the planet faces the pulsar all the time. So half of the planet experiences daylight, while the other half experiences perpetual darkness. It's also very close to its star. When it was young, B1257+12b received a lot of energy from its star. So it had an atmosphere and maybe even oceans of liquid water. It could have been a nice place to live, far from the deadly radiation of its star. But here's the problem. Neutron stars are very sensitive. Even a tiny disturbance can mess up their delicate balance and make them explode again. And guess what? B1257+12b was a bit too close for comfort. It destabilized its star, making it explode as a supernova. The planet was completely destroyed in the blast. This was the first death of B1257+12b. But the story doesn't end there. After the supernova, part of the planet's matter merged with the outer layer of the dead star and formed a new planet, B1257+12. You heard that right. One planet was born from the death of another. It's like a cosmic cycle of life and death. The second planet, B1257+12c, was mostly unaffected by the explosion and continues to orbit the pulsar today. But the third planet, B1257+12, had a different fate. After the supernova, it started orbiting the pulsar much closer than before. It's possible that the intense heat and radiation from the explosion stripped away its atmosphere and oceans. Today, it's a barren, frozen wasteland. And the newly formed planet, B1257+12d, well, it was a bit of a disappointment. At first, scientists thought it might be another Earth-like planet with life and all. But as they studied it, they found that it had no atmosphere, no oceans, no life. It was basically a big ball of rock and dust. They couldn't believe that after all the drama, all the death and destruction, what they got was a boring old asteroid. Talk about anticlimactic. Then came the X-ray telescopes. As soon as they pointed them at B1257+12d, they found something amazing. The planet had an atmosphere. It wasn't just a barren rock. It had hydrogen, helium, and maybe even some methane. The atmosphere was blown away in the supernova. It was either that or the planet had no atmosphere in the first place. Either way, it's a sign that the planet is still geologically active. It means that B1257+12d could have a chance at life, albeit not as we know it. The radiation from its star is so powerful that any organic molecules on the surface would be quickly destroyed. So life would have to evolve under these extreme conditions. But who knows, maybe there are some weird alien creatures living on that planet. Maybe they're rewatching us right now and wondering why we do want to have a giant space laser that shoots fireballs at Earth. Who knows, maybe one day we'll find out. But here's the thing. The X-ray telescope detected not only an atmosphere, but also an ocean on B1257+12d. Wait, did we just discover a second Earth? Well, not exactly. The ocean on B1257+12d is probably made of something else. Something that can exist in those extreme temperatures and radiation levels. Most likely, it's an ocean of molten lava. I know it doesn't sound like the kind of place you'd want to take a swim, but it's still pretty cool to find a planet that is so similar to Earth in some ways and so different in others. It reminds us how lucky we are to be on Earth. Sure, it's not perfect. We have climate change, pandemics, and people who put pineapple on pizza. But compared to B1257+12d, we're pretty much in paradise. Like, can you imagine trying to surf in an ocean of molten lava? Not me. Our story began with the death of a planet, but maybe it can end with a new beginning. Maybe one day we'll find a way to terraform B1257+12d. Make it more like Earth so that we can live there. It won't be easy. We'd have to deal with the radiation, the extreme temperatures, and the fact that it's 2,400 light-years away from Earth. But hey, it's not impossible. And if we can do it, who knows what other adventures await us in the vastness of space. Maybe we'll find more planets with oceans, maybe even with aliens. Who knows? The universe is full of surprises. If you liked this story, you might like another story about a planet that died twice. It's not the same planet, but the story is pretty similar. Check it out here. Thanks for watching.